Haunted Shadows, a journey into Blackwood Forest Halloween horror. On a night when most people stay indoors, we're heading into one of the most feared and untouched places in the country, Blackwood Forest. Locals say that once you set foot on its paths, the forest marks you. It's a place of countless legends, abandoned for a century, with stories that run colder than any autumn breeze. Tonight, on Halloween, we're going to see if those stories are true. The forest itself seems to know we're coming. Trees crowd along a narrow, twisting road that barely cuts through the fog. The air feels thick and heavy, like it's alive with anticipation. The journey into Blackwood begins with strange warnings. The headlights flicker, and the radio cuts to static, even though we're miles away from civilization. It's as if something in the forest reaches out, interfering with anything we bring along. The only sounds are the quiet hum of the car engine and the occasional crunch of leaves under tires. They say those who venture too close to Blackwood Village never return. That it's not just a place lost to time, but one stolen by something darker. As we drive deeper, something steps out into the headlights, a figure, pale and still, standing right in the center of the road. Hollow eyes stare straight at us, a chilling sight that leaves our hearts pounding. And just like that, it vanishes, leaving us wondering if we've seen something real or if it was just a trick of the shadows. We finally reach the village. Abandoned decades ago, it's little more than a collection of crumbling buildings, leaning walls, and empty, dark windows. This isn't just any ghost town. Blackwood Village is the heart of the forest's mystery. They say that one Halloween night, everyone in the village vanished without a trace. Some saw strange, flickering lights in the woods and heard voices calling them out of their homes, luring them away. Those who went searching for them never came back. Exploring the streets, the silence feels almost oppressive, as if the village itself is holding its breath, waiting. Shadows shift in the windows, and it's hard to tell if they're just illusions in the moonlight or something else. Our footsteps echo down the empty streets, but every now and then, there's a faint sound, a creak, a sigh, a whisper coming from somewhere just out of view. In the center of the village stands Blackwood Inn, its once grand entrance now sagging, its walls covered in ivy. This was the last place to offer shelter to those who dared stay the night. People say that the innkeeper was the first to vanish, and that his ghost haunts these empty halls, watching over the village he could never leave behind. As we step inside, our flashlighters casting shadows on peeling wallpaper and broken furniture. The smell of damp wood and dust fills the air, and the silence is thick, almost suffocating. Suddenly there's a faint laugh echoing down the hall, followed by soft, rhythmic tapping, like someone slowly knocking on the walls. For a brief moment, we see a figure in the distance, a shadow that stands perfectly still, watching before disappearing into darkness. Leaving the village, we follow a narrow trail deeper into the forest. Here, the trees grow closer together, their branches twisting in unnatural shapes. It feels as though the forest itself is alive, closing in around us, guiding us forward but never letting us leave. This part of the forest is where people have heard voices, whispers carried by the wind, calling out names, leading travelers away from the path. The stories say that if you listen too closely, you'll start to believe those voices are real. The deeper we go, the more we feel it, that sense of being watched, as if the trees themselves are alive and aware. Our path eventually leads us to a hidden clearing, bathed in moonlight. At the center lies an ancient stone circle, surrounded by twisted trees. Strange symbols are carved into the stones, their meanings lost to time, covered in moss and lichen. They call this place the Ritual Circle, a spot that holds a dark history older than the village itself. It's said that this circle was once used in secret rites, where townsfolk would gather on Halloween to summon forces from the other side. Some claim that on Halloween night, this place becomes a portal, allowing spirits to cross over. As if on cue, the temperature drops and the air becomes thick with an icy, unnatural chill. The stillness grows so heavy that it feels like we can hardly breathe. Then, without warning, torches around the circle burst into flame. Shadows dance across the stones and a figure steps forward from the darkness, its face hidden beneath a hood. One by one, more figures appear, cloaked and silent, forming a circle around us, as if we've stumbled into something we were never meant to see. The chanting begins low, guttural, in a language that feels as ancient as the stones themselves. The voices rise and fall, growing louder, their words incomprehensible but filled with a dark energy. It feels like the forest is alive, vibrating with something unnatural, something powerful and dangerous. The shadows around us grow thicker, almost as if they're moving, closing in, and the weight of the forest presses down, making it impossible to move, to escape. Whatever ritual is happening here tonight, it's not meant for the living. Panic sets in, but every path we turn to is blocked by these shadowy figures. Their faces hidden, their eyes glowing faintly beneath their hoods. The chanting continues, and for a moment it feels as though the ground beneath us shifts, as if we're standing on the edge of a chasm that leads somewhere far, far darker than this world. The chanting stops. The figures remain silent, unmoving, their eyes fixed on us, as if waiting for something, or perhaps judging us. The silence is even more terrifying than the chanting was, and it feels like every heartbeat echoes through the forest. And then darkness. The screen cuts to black, leaving only the faint sound of wind in the trees and our own heavy breathing echoing in the night. They say that if you survive Blackwood Forest, the spirits follow you home. So as you step away from this screen, remember, the shadows have seen you now, and they never forget.